What's good, everybody? Welcome to this third episode of the By the Hood podcast and webcast. I'm your host, as always. My name is Jimmy. I got my partner, Corey, in the building. Corey, what's going on?
What's going on, good people? How y'all doing out there?
Listen, man, this is an amazing episode we have coming up. We have a special guest on that I'm very excited about. She has a new book that just came out last week. I've actually read the book. I own it on Kindle as well as the paperback copy, and hilarious title. It's called Twerk Money. So for those who don't know, maybe listening for the first time, the By the Hood podcast, is part of our whole By the Hood movement. It started as a thing about real estate, teaching people how to buy the hood, but it's kind of like turned into something else. It's about buying into each other. It's about supporting each other. It's about teaching personal finance, personal responsibility. It's about a lot of things. What I like to do is to bring people on who are out there making moves and doing things and have them share their experience, share what they're doing, with everyone who's listening. So we love to have authors on. So this is like our first author that we're going to have on. Without further ado, I definitely want to bring on Rika. Rika, this is your third book, your second one in personal finance, right? So for the people that don't know who you are, just give us a little bit of your background in terms of how you got to the point where you wanted to write about personal finance and what it means to you.
Hi everyone. My name is Sherreka, also known as Rika or Rika Darby. I used to work for the federal government. I actually quit August of 2016. I was tired of working there, specifically for that agency. I was working for a security agency, and it was just very hindering on my spirit and on my mentality and understanding the role that intelligence agencies played in the decline of the Black community and things like that. So I just really had to get out of there. And in doing that, I saved up $25,000 in 9 months. And it just dawned on me that we didn't have anybody who looked like us really telling us what we needed to know from a personal finance perspective. So that kind of pushed me into that realm, because I also read Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, and he talks about the 9 areas of life, and economics is one of them, and that was the one that was speaking to me at the time. So I wanted to concentrate on that, and so I got into talking about money and ended up writing my first book, How to Earn and Keep Your Dead Presidents. That really talks about the basics. It was mainly for younger people, especially in college, because when you're young, you have all this time, and compounding interest can do the work for you. But Twerk Money, the one that just came out, Twerk Money Tales from the Black Wallet, that's really just for all of us, and mainly for us, and how we need to approach economics as a people.
Yeah, and I've read the book. It's a great book. I definitely enjoy it. I appreciate it because it's kind of funny. It's not just one of your dry finance books. So it's funny. It's relatable.
Yeah.
And you actually tell your story about saving $25K in 9 months, and I want people to really grasp that, because a lot of people don't think they can do it. Right? They don't think they can do it. You saved $25K in 9 months, and the great thing about that is this, right? So one of the things that me and Corey, we both preach, is that you have to get started doing something. And some people think that if I need 100,000 or I need 10K, if you start putting up just do something. You can get these days. I mean, the barrier to entry in terms of improving your personal finance and starting to become an investor is so minimal. And I think you do a great job of talking about that, like within this book. The last book was good too. I got a couple copies, and I gave them to my nephews, because I thought that it was very appropriate for them in terms of explaining what a checking account is, and things of that nature. So definitely an amazing job with the Twerk Money. What's up with the title though, Twerk Money?
So I have a love-hate relationship with marketing. I think it's very manipulative, and it's just one of those ways, people just buy things that they don't need. So when it comes to us, we're very visual, and we drive pop culture.
Yeah.
So twerking is something that we all know. And honestly, when I wrote it down, like I just had a list of different, you know, specific titles that I could have. And somebody had suggested Tales from the Black Water, and I didn't really like it by itself. And I saw I had twerk money, so I was like, man, I just need to put these together, because it was, I didn't even think it would be something, you know, that was going to be on the book. But then I talked to my best friend. She was like, oh my God, I like twerk money. I was like, twerk money, Tales from the Black Wallet, because it's an attention grabber, right? Like you have to get people's attention. And like you said, personal finance is boring usually. Like people don't make it fun and relatable and easy to read, especially when they're talking to us, because we don't really have anybody in that space again who looks like us. It's usually these old white people who are millionaires and they're just trying to sell $1,000 seminar seats, you know. So
I know.
So that's where it came from, is trying to grab people's attention and be like, twerk money, what's that about? Because honestly, we love urban fiction. So if it puts you in the mind of that, then it's more likely, I feel like, one of us will actually pick it up.
No, it is. Corey, I know you got some questions. Before we get to Corey, though, the one thing I want to bring up from the book that kind of touched me and like maybe put it down for a second is when you talk about the importance of finance within our community and within our culture, and you tell the story of like Sandra Bland, right? So we all know who Sandra Bland is, and you talk about how she couldn't get bail money up, and I think you said it was like $500.
Very minimal.
And because she couldn't get $500, we all know the end of that story. And like when I read that, I was like, damn, like it touched me again. Like I knew that, but I like had forgot about that part of it, because you know the story had like blossomed into what it blossomed into. But when you bring it back to that small point, that a lot of us, when I say us, you know what I'm talking about, a lot of us don't have $500 we can get to in an emergency. That's scary when you think about it.
It is. I mean, because nobody likes to think about the bad things happening, right? So it's almost kind of on that line. Like, to me, having a emergency fund is you insuring yourself. I mean, we already know we have issues with getting insurance from corporations, and that's okay, fine, I get it, because they've always tried to come and take advantage of us. But you need to personally insure yourself, right? That, to me, that's saying I care about me. If something happens, because something will happen, this is life, that's how it goes, I have the money to take care of it.
Yeah. Corey, I know you had a couple of questions and things you want to bring up.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple questions. Thank you first of all for being here. The first question I have is when did you decide to make the transition from being in a corporation like the government to being more independent like you are today?
Oh, when did I first decide? I mean, that was just so when the Sandra Bland situation happened, I was really sick, because that literally to me could have been me. I pop off at the mouth. I've done it before with cops. So it really hit home, and that really led me to research more of our history and our relations with the other people here in this country. And in doing that, I just saw that the deviousness and just how everything connects, and we just don't pay attention to it because it's not as overt anymore. And I just opened my eyes to everything, and like being in that environment around people who just don't really care about you, and they just say the most insensitive things. For instance, I was in the Baltimore area, and when the riots were happening, they were like, why do those people think that we're killing them? And I'm like, I'm like, what? And you can't do anything. Like I told them to shut up, right? But then I told my supervisor, I was like, you need to get a handle on your people, like rein them in, do that. But they were like, well, you said something, you took care of it. They were just going to send like some passive aggressive email. I'm like, if I have to handle my own situations, I may as well do this out in the real world on my own. If I got to stand up for me, you're not going to do it. I may as well do that on my own. So that really was the catalyst for me saying I got to get out of here, because these people are going to be the death of me. And I have to protect my sanity, and I have to protect my space and my thoughts. So that was really what
No,
drove me to get up out of there.
that's a perfect catalyst to to a call to action, a movement. You're also part of another movement um that you talk about in the book called the Abacus. And so uh speaking about the Abacus and about money in general, how do those two things intertwine in your life?
What was the first? I know you said the abacus and what else?
How does you speak about it in the book when you're talking about investments and those kinds of things? How do those two things intertwine in your life? How did the abacus come to be part of what you talk about in the book?
Oh, because in the abacus, he teaches us stock, the market, and how to invest. And so I feel like that's one of the ways that we can really, I don't want to say close the wealth gap, because I don't think the wealth gap is anything that we have to close, because that's not something that we, made. But I feel like the way to take back control of our financial lives, we have to use the stock market. I don't think we understand how much it affects our lives, even with our retirement accounts. We don't even know how these people are picking the things that we have in our mutual funds, and we're just kind of putting our future and our retirement into somebody else's hands. Across the abacus, I was in another Facebook group, and the creator and founder James Tompkins, he was in there popping off at the mouth, and I'm sure he got kicked out, but luckily I added him before he did. And I don't know, I was drawn to him because he was talking on a level that was realistic, because I don't have time
those rich dummy terms.
Yeah, rich dummy terms. Like, nobody talks to us in a relatable way. Like, the people that we're drawn to, the people that we tend to be drawn to, they're spouting off all these fancy words, and they have charisma, but they're not putting it so it's relatable. It's just like, oh, we're odd. Oh, you're smart. Like, no.
It's a cultural thing. It's definitely a cultural thing, which is why there's a void in the marketplace for that, and why your book resonates with someone like me. Someone who's written multiple books, and I try to kind of be relatable in that way. And one of the things I want to ask you about that and I got notes right here, because when I read your book, and I read all kinds of personal finance books, self-help books, I'm into that. So, I kind of read everything. But one of the things you did that a lot of people don't do, and would talk about wealth building, and it really resonated with me because I'm in the process of writing another book, and I would talk about the mentality of wealth. But you actually put in here to focus on building a solid reputation as something to help you along the journey in building wealth. And no one ever really talks about that, like how you reputate. People will tell you, okay, you buy stocks, you get mutual funds, you buy real estate, but no one says, hey, your reputation is just as valuable as those other assets. So the question I have for you is, what made you put that in the book? Because you don't see that at all in most personal finance books.
Because I feel like we're so focused on just getting money, we're not thinking about the ways that people get money. So it was so weird. I saw somebody put up a status. They were like, why does everybody get mad at the drug dealer as opposed to the person who's doing the drugs? So my thing is, if you didn't offer it, if it wasn't available in the marketplace, how would they buy it? So you're contributing to that person's downfall just by being the person who provides them with the harmful substance. If it wasn't available in the marketplace, you would not buy it. Mm-hmm. So we have to look at it as, how am I getting these funds? Is it going to cause the destruction of another human being? Do I feel okay with this? Am I able to sleep at night? And if you aren't, then something is wrong with you personally, but you have to put that morality into that, because I think we're just looking at it from, okay, $1 is just $1 and business is business. And that's cool. And that's cool and all. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that the stock market and all that stuff was basically, came to be because we as Black people were the products. We were the things that were on sale.
No, you're right. But let me ask you a question.
Separated from that to
Because
me.
this brings up a great point, and I want to get your perspective because there's not really no right or wrong answer in this because I talk about capitalism a lot. My background is in real estate as well as personal finance and mutual funds and what have you. A lot of people get upset about that because they say, well, you talk about all these other social issues. How can you be a capitalist but still be for your people? So how would you define your type of capitalism? Because some people say, listen, it's about business. It's only about making the money. But I see that you also have a passion for your people. So how do you kind of not how do you remain both a capitalist who wants to participate in the markets and those things, but also understand that it's also about how you get your money and not like become a hypocrite like some people are? Because I see that you're kind of defining your own type of capitalism. So what would you call that? And do you ever feel like there's a conflict between the two?
So
And this is
yeah,
just
I
your
am kind
perspective
of
because I've heard different perspectives, and I think it's an interesting debate. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer. So I just want to get your perspective.
definitely
Because,
an interesting debate.
yeah. Accord, you can, while she's thinking about Accord, do you have any thing to add to that? Like, what would you say about this debate?
I, I'm not gonna lie. I have a totally obscure view of capitalism. I personally think that you can't solve personal issues without taking care of um the money issues that come with the social issues. I think personally the lack of resources, and the resource that we're talking about is money, is the thing that causes the social issues that we have. Brother James Tompkins, who we just talked about, he posted something that I said to him. We had a hour-long conversation, and the whole gist of that conversation was that people that have resources don't kill people. If you want to lower crime rates and you want to lower, the rates of criminalization and things of that nature, you provide resources for people. People with hope don't do those kind of things. When people have resources and places to go, the thing that they don't do is kill each other. So that's
That's true.
that's why I say people with resources don't kill each other. I'm not talking about rich people don't kill people, because we know that's not the truth. But I'm talking about when people have absolutely nowhere to go, the place that they go is at each other. So that's why I say resources is the thing, and that's why the markets to me is the fairest place where you can get that, because these companies not going to go bankrupt just to keep black people out the markets. So that's why I say the market is the place for us to go ahead and get these dollars.
Okay, so like, do you define your capitalism in any different way, or is it you're just a pure capitalist? Because I understand the debate, right? Because you care about your people, and some of these companies may take advantage of your people, but they also may pay a high dividend. So it's like, are you, you know what I mean? And I know you love companies with dividends. We've had this conversation. You all about that dividend.
Yeah, if it don't pay dividends, I don't touch it. Because
No.
you not
So how do you balance the two? Is what I'm trying to like get at,
I don't I
or
don't I don't. I can't. Like, I'm not a person that worries about other people's feelings. So what I do is I balance it out like this. If they're taking advantage of us and we own the companies, then we can actually change the way that they do business. If enough of us own those companies, we can own the companies because they're in the political positions to do whatever they need to do. So if we own the companies that own the country, we can actually change the way those companies treat us by owning those companies instead of shying away from those companies and going away from them. I would say we should take bigger ownership stakes in those companies that take advantage of us, and then make them change the way that they do business.
okay,
That's just my personal.
I call that like the Roger and Me approach. If you ever see that movie Roger and Me, when he like goes to the shareholders meeting and acts a fool, in that
Yeah.
documentary. But okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. I just wanted to get your perspective as well, because I've seen this debate and I've seen people come at me, a lot of these pro-black groups, because I'm in there talking about, trying to help our people advance from a personal finance standpoint. And they said, you can't be a revolutionary and be a capitalist. And I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not? So, but I like to get people's perspective, though, because this is something that I put a lot of time in thinking about. I really don't struggle with it because I kind of agree with you, Corey, but I also know that Brother Tompkins, and I can tell you the actual video is like video 41, season 1. He says we need to get less emotional about this. You know, like take your emotions out of it. So
and
I thought that was interesting.
If it comes to like picking stocks, I'm not as emotional, but I am emotional about what I do and how I go about doing something. So we have a lot of people in the internet marketing space who are sitting up here renting these, you know, Lamborghinis and acting like it's theirs and saying, oh, I'm making $100K a month, and basically just trying to do lifestyle marketing and fraudulence. And I'm not with that. Like, I don't want people to be drawn to me because I'm selling lies and I'm up here trying to sell you trash. Because I don't, that's my whole thing. Like, I don't want to be one of those capitalists who just ends up doing something just for the money. I mean, the companies are here. It's too late. Like, they're here. And if they're going to be here, then give me my damn dividends. But from a personal perspective, I'm not about to be sitting up here selling jars of air. That's stupid.
No, and I get that, you know, and I think I actually got the article from you where the guy was literally selling dirt and he was making like $3,500 a month selling dirt. But you know, so I get that too, because I'm not with that either. Like, one of the things I like to share is like not only my successes in terms of companies purchase or real estate purchase, but also like my struggles. Like, you know, I spend way too much money on food. Like, that's just what I do. So I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's about what your real life is. It's about not faking the funk. You know what I mean? And a lot of people do fake the funk within this personal finance space, because we've all been there. Whether they're a black person or not, where you get into the free seminar and then at the end you go to the back of the room and they're selling you the weekend for $25K, and they'll finance it for you and charge you 30% interest. Right. For another story. So we're definitely not about that. We're about trying to help our people and spread this. So I like the way you approach it. Your social media is very entertaining. I got to give you that. And, you know, now you're doing your thing with the book too. So, you know, very proud of you. Keep pushing. So what would you tell someone out there who wants to get into the space of writing a book? What would be your advice to someone who's watching or listening to this and they say, I want to write a book. She's on her 3rd book. What would be your kind of tips that you would give?
Oh God. Start earlier than you think. Make sure that you I'm all for outlining, kind of get your thoughts together, especially for nonfiction, maybe even for fiction, because that's just a whole nother beast in itself. But getting your thoughts down in an outline and then going from there and just writing as much as you can, because, you know, and putting your personal experience in there, and definitely using the resources from other authors, because I've done that, like getting the checklist, making sure you have everything, like your ISBNs and your covers, and making sure that you have, you know, test readers, things like that, because it's a lot of little stuff to publishing a book. You know, most people don't think about the proof copies. Most people don't think about the barcode. Do I need one of those for my ebook? Like, it's just a little stuff. So making sure that you start now or sooner than you think you need to.
Okay. All right. And in terms of personal finance, what would be some advice that someone can take from this episode, or they're listening to this podcast, that they could take right from here to apply to their life right now from your point of view?
Oh man, start with where you are with what you have. I know we talked about the emergency fund, and I know a lot of the major gurus like to say 6 months, but I'm all for just get the $500. I mean, start with something. I don't even care if it's like you putting $5 a month. You need to start somewhere, because that is your insurance. That's the first thing you need to do. I don't care about debt. I don't care about none of that. Making sure you have $500 should be your top priority. Set aside somewhere for you. Then you need to get rid of the debt. So first, take care of you, then get rid of the debt. Those are my 2 major things.
Got you. A couple more questions before you get out of here. We know we talked about the gurus that you dislike, and we know why you dislike like them. I think on there you call them, a lot of them are poverty pimps, is your words. But let me ask you a question. There has to be some that you do like. So let's talk about what you do like. So is there anybody out there in the space that you you appreciate their work?
There's a guy called Ryan McCrary. I appreciate his work. There's a guy called Eric Patrick. He does like stock market analysis, but with hip hop. So he takes rap lyrics and he puts them,
I gotta look him up. What's his name?
Eric Patrick.
I gotta look that up. Okay.
What is it? It's called Black Market Exchange.
Okay.
I used to like Boyce Watkins. He's gone the way of interesting marketing things, but his earlier stuff is cool.
Did he sell something? Someone said that he sold out to somebody. I don't know, but we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some females in the space. Adrienne Harris.
Okay.
Budgetnista. She's okay.
Okay.
She's
all right.
She has
I mean, that's what some people that we can all look out for and just share with our audience, some people that are in the space that you do like, because we know there's tons of people out there, the poverty pimps, who like to take advantage of people, but there's a lot of people out there trying to do good work. So we always want to highlight the people that are trying to do good work. Corey, you got any other questions?
Where do you get your quotations and your online presence is I find it to be absolutely hilarious because we share sort of a sense of humor. But where are you finding this stuff at? Like where do you come up with the witticisms and the stuff that you put on your online?
I don't know, man. Some of that stuff just comes to me. I do a lot of random internet searching, especially on like IG. You got
one of those things where
places.
Some people say like, don't judge me by my search history.
Yeah, and like it's where you can really find some funny stuff. Just like people's stories, and you could get caught up in it if you really, decide to go this route. But reading people's comments on certain things, especially when it comes to like relationships, and just their outlook on just random money stuff that you wouldn't, think to look like when it comes to outfits, or what they like to call hotepism. So just looking at stuff like that, I'm saying you can find like people say some crazy stuff. I'm just like, what are y'all talking about? You can't do that in the real world. That's not how this works. I don't know. They just say some crazy stuff.
Yeah. And the last thing that I wanted to ask you, where can we find your work at? Like besides Amazon, and where else can we find your work?
So you can get the book from twerkmoney.com. And I had a website, but people just didn't go to it. So I kind of just do stuff on my Facebook page right now. Keeping it on there because that's where people tend to just stay, really.
Yeah, those where the eyes are. I mean, that's how it is these days. Like, I talk to authors all the time, and they say like, I sell most of my books on Instagram or Facebook. It's just amazing.
Yes,
they get all the traffic.
People don't want to go that extra step. Like you could literally put the link even on the post, and they'll be like, "Okay, where do I go for this? Did you read this? Because it's right there." Like it's almost like you have to be in their inbox saying, "Here it is. Click this." I don't know.
Yeah, but I just want to congratulate you on your new book. So what's next for you in terms of as an author? What are you thinking about? Because you said you're not going to continuously do this. Like I read that in this book, so. You make it a point to say that. But what's next for you as an author?
I really want to try to write fiction. It's just something that I've always wanted to do. I have one book out there, but I don't tell anybody about it because I'm so embarrassed because it's a trip.
It's like 50 Shades or something? Like, is it,
It's just really... No, it's a young adult romance, and I wrote it like on National Novel Writing Month, and it's like a 30-day challenge where you write a whole
Okay.
novel in 30 days. So I just did it like that, so it's really rushed and put together. But I want to do that, and then I really just kind of want to concentrate on getting my capital up, like doing option plays and really learning the intricacies of the stock market, so I can be more hands-on when it comes to teaching other people.
Yeah, and that last thing is, I also noticed that you're very heavy on crypto. I see you talk about Bitcoin a lot. I see you talk about Bitcoin a lot.
Yeah, I like what it stands for, because it's decentralized. Nobody controls it. The government doesn't have its little nasty grubby hands in it, and it's just a way for people to have more control over their transactions. And I think it's very innovative, and I think it's going to literally change the game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that. A lot of people think that this will actually change the world.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Philadelphia I just came across. He actually accepts. He's another landlord, just like I am. I was talking to him. This guy actually accepts Bitcoin for rent.
Oh, snap.
And
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, people are actually going with it and taking it in different places. But anyway, Rika, listen. Thanks for your time. Again, the book is Twerk Money. You can go to twerkmoney.com. We will put links in the description box, so you can follow her on social media. Also, pick up this book as well as her first book. Corey, any last things you got to say before we get out of here?
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. And this is the first book.
Keep your dead presidents. That's right. Yeah. So
thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, definitely appreciate your work. Like you said, there's not too many people in the space. Young black female actually talking about how to get your capital up, and you're giving life lessons in here. It's deeper than just money, and we definitely appreciate it.
And it's FUBU. And it's
Yeah,
FUBU.
and you mentioned that you mentioned that in the book is for us and by us. You're unapologetic about it, and I like that. So again, thank you for your time. Much success to you in the future, and we'll try to help you sell as many of these things as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Listen, so for everybody out there, this is the By the Hood webcast as well as the podcast. Make sure you follow us online. You can follow my personal Instagram or Twitter is at JW the Blueprint. I'll put all Corey's stuff in the description box as well, because he's above average savage on Twitter and 254 Corey Camp on Instagram. So I'll put all that in the description box. And the reason I want you to follow us, or you can just follow at By the Hood, is because we will be all over the place, giving these talks and giving out free information. Again, we're not selling anything when we show up. We're not trying to have you sign up to take milkshakes or, sell insurance or nothing like that. We're just trying to give away free information to help you build and grow your net worth. I'll be in Vegas in September, spitting my bars. But me and Corey will be all throughout the streets of Philadelphia. So make sure you follow us and follow at By the Hood. Subscribe to this channel if you're watching this on YouTube. If you listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, whatever, make sure you give us some feedback. Again, this is the By the Hood podcast, and as we always say, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Peace.
Peace.